Hello everyone and welcome back. So this time we're going to talk about different extrusion options. Now to help us out, I've created a little object over here and I created a second sketch that is going to be extruded. So let's look at this. So I've already created my sketch, and so I'm going to go to extruded boss base and we're going to look at these different options. Now you see we have everything we've seen before. However, there's this button right here, and we didn't really talk about last time. And it says blind. Now, if you click on it, or if you just scroll over it, it says end condition blind. What does that mean? When it says blind, it means if there's something in the way, it doesn't care. It's going to extrude it anyway. It can extrude through walls. It can extrude into a different part. And it's going to connect with that. Whatever happens, it just keeps going until it reaches that distance. But there's others as well. There's through wall, which will extrude until it has passed through everything it can possibly pass through. You see, I don't give a distance here. It's just going to keep on moving until it's gone through everything. If there's nothing in its way, it won't work. There's also up to next. I can click something. In this case, this doesn't really work for us right now. But I can do it if I have other things like other lines, other features I might want to do. I can try up to vertex, but my sphere doesn't have a vertex. Or up to surface. I can click this surface and you can see that it's gone past it just because it doesn't perfectly overlap it. If I were to, in fact, to actually make this somewhat smaller, you see that it would just touch the surface. It does not go through it. I can also do offset from surface, so it gets close to it, and this distance right here is not the length of this extrusion, but how far away from the surface it is. Oh. And then finally, there's also up to body. And this is a different body, so it's going to connect to it. Up to surface, up to body are extremely helpful when you have to extrude something you want it to attach. There's no good flat surface to hit onto. You're going to be hitting like several different flat surfaces at different angles, or a rounded surface and you just want it to join. The reason you wouldn't use blind is because maybe this is hollow and you don't want to extrude through the wall and have this random rectangle going through the wall. You want it to just stop and touch. The last thing is that currently these two are going to be merged because I've clicked this button right here. That means they become one body. Otherwise they're two separate bodies even though they look like they're touching. So if I uncheck this, this would be a body and this is a body. If I don't check it, then they are one body, which can be helpful. There's sometimes when you wouldn't want to do that. Okay, so we've seen all of these options. What about these right here? Well, this tells me where I'm extruding from. In conditions, the first one we looked at. Now we're looking at where it came from. So currently it's from the sketch plane. However, there's other things I can do. If I had a surface, I could do it from there. I can also do it offset, which is most common. And I can offset it from that plane. So I'm not starting on my sketch plane. I'm starting just slightly off of my sketch plane. Another option which is very common to use, I'm going to get rid of the offset, is shown right here. This is called draft. Draft says that I'm going to either get smaller as I go, keeping the same general shape, or I'm going to get larger as I go, still keeping the same general shape. So this is a rectangle. So when I click draft, you can see that it is getting smaller as it goes along. And the further I go, the smaller it gets, until eventually it turns into a line and just disappears. It's no longer there anymore. I can also reverse that so it gets bigger as it goes. And I can also continue to use different sets like this, up to surface or up to body. In this case, it got so big that it doesn't really work anymore. It's just going all the way around it. But it's not actually going inside of it. It's just touching the surface. One other thing we can do is something called thin feature. Now, there's a lot here. There's a lot of options. So make sure you look at this video a couple times. Thin feature says, well, instead of making this I'm going to have to get rid of draft to make this look nice. There we go. Instead of making this a solid rectangle, it says, actually, I just want that line on the edge. I'm extruding that. And as you can see, I'm making it 0.1 inches thick for the wall. And if I want to, I can do it in multiple directions. There's a lot of different things I can do. I can also make it so that I'm going on the inside if I want to, the outside, or both. So still a whole bunch of options. Thin feature will sometimes get clicked by accident, so if you do see that checkbox and you didn't mean to do that, make sure you uncheck it. And one last thing that I neglected to mention, which is extremely helpful, is midplane. Use this a lot because it will center whatever you're creating on your sketch. And most times with rectangles or boxes or things like that, you want to center it. So you'll do that first extrusion on midplane. It makes lots of things easier. You don't have to create as many planes when you do that. It's not always necessary, but it makes things, it can help you out. And as a note, this 2.2 inches right here is not 2.2 inches in the front and 2.2 inches behind. It's 2.2 inches total. So 1.1 inch in the front, 1.1 inch in behind. Okay, now I know there's a lot of options we just went over, so make sure you look this over, check it out yourself, try it, and see how it works for you. And I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.